10 News is sponsored by Premier Family of Dealerships. 10 News on WBIR starts now.
Happy New Year, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our 2024 Year in Review. Over the next half hour, we will show you some of the biggest stories from this busy year all across East Tennessee. We begin, of course, with some of the wild weather we saw over the last 12 months. Hurricane Helene decimated parts of East Tennessee and western North Carolina. This is a look at the damage the storm left behind in Cocke County. The mayor there estimates 200 to 300 homes were destroyed when flooding swept through that area back in late September. We also tracked major damage across the state line in North Carolina, also in Greene County, and in Irwin and Unicoi County. In December, 10 News anchor Sam Perez took us back to Irwin and shows us just one small piece of the recovery process underway.
It's been pitiful.
Shirley Lane has seen the devastation from Hurricane Helene firsthand.
I've seen a lot of people without, had an aunt and uncle that lost everything.
She works as a clerk at a pharmacy in Irwin, just 5 minutes away from the Unicoi County Hospital, where patients evacuated and were airlifted from the roof after it was submerged by floodwaters during Hurricane Helene.
A lot of our patients that come here was on the top of the hospital and had to be recovered and had to be rescued.
But now, hospital workers have joined other healthcare providers to open an urgent care facility.
I think it's a good thing because we have a lot of sickness right now with the colds and the flus.
Valid Health Urgent Care is open 24/7.
We've seen a lot of people come in here, and if they don't have somewhere to go in the community, then a lot of them are elderly and can't make it to the urgent cares in Johnson City or the hospital, so I think it's a big necessity.
A lot of people do depend on this area right here coming from North Carolina side. They come over the mountain and they actually depend on this area a lot because there's not much between here and Asheville.
Nikki Wart saw that devastation. She works as the general manager of a gas station right next door to the hospital.
It was actually very scary. We were watching the water rise.
While her store is back up and running after 7 weeks of cleaning, the hospital nearby is still closed, but she hopes it won't be shut down forever.
The hope right now is that they stay in Unicoi as close to North Carolina as possible.
Communities in western North Carolina were devastated by the impact of that storm. We dispatched crews to some of the hardest hit communities for a firsthand look. They spent 96 hours in communities cut off by washed out roads and fallen trees, just days after the storm. 10 News anchor Abby Ham showed us how one community came together to start building back.
24 hours ago, most of this debris was in the Cane Creek. But neighbors in this area have banded together to pull this stuff out of the creek so they can preserve the entrance into their neighborhood. On Wednesday morning, this area of Cane Creek underneath this bridge was filled with debris. And today, it is clear. Neighbors were also working really hard to shore up this embankment, not only to protect the only water line that takes water into their neighborhood, but also to protect this embankment. And they made so much progress in such little time.
Right now on our streaming app, WBIR Plus, you can watch our full documentary on the devastation in western North Carolina. You can find it on WBIR Plus or our YouTube channel. Well, the storm also caused major damage to Interstate 40. Of course, that's the artery connecting East Tennessee to Asheville, North Carolina. Part of the road slid away during the storm. Road crews began work immediately, and they hope to have had the road back open by the beginning of 2025. Well, the week before Christmas, though, North Carolina Transportation Authority say another section of that road collapsed into the Pigeon River Gorge. Now there's no timeline for when that road will reopen. As all of these communities recover, we asked you to pitch in, and you helped us collect thousands of toys for families who lost everything in the storm and our Hope for the Holidays toy drive. We partnered with the FBI Citizens Academy Alumni Association to collect and deliver toys to schools in Greene, Unicoi, and Cocke counties. This is a look at South Greene High School. In all, we were able to give out more than 2,000 toys with your help. In April, a tornado swept through a small Fentress County community. That EF1 storm hit Sunbright with winds surpassing 100 miles an hour. No one was hurt, but the storm left a trail of damaged homes and businesses. 10 News reporter Aaron Velasquez met a family who escaped the winds just in time with help from their neighbor.
You're helpless. There's nothing you can do.
Noah Hamby describes the experience of escaping the tornado in Sunbright with his family.
And we come out this way and ran around.
They made their way through their neighbor's yard, feet away from his cellar, when the tornado knocked Alexis Hamby down.
Took me straight off my feet, and I had her in my arms.
Noah watched as his wife and kids fought the winds.
She was able to push herself to right here, and that's when debris and everything started hitting her feet, and she, tumbled with the baby.
He then grabbed his wife, and their neighbor pulled them all in from the storm.
And he grabbed her, and I grabbed him, and I just drug all four of them into the basement.
An escape, they say, couldn't have happened a second later.
If anything would have played out a second different, it would have totally had a different outcome.
The neighbor says he did what anybody else would do.
I mean, it feels good knowing that I helped them, but, any normal person would, I believe.
The Hambys say if it wasn't for him, they would not be here now.
And we actually survived that tornado. We was outside in that tornado, and if it wasn't for our neighbor and the grace of God, it was.
In January 2024, East Tennessee was blanketed with snow. Remember that? Schools and businesses shut down for days. That snowstorm and frigid winter temperatures did contribute to 8 deaths and cost the city of Knoxville more than $1 million to clean up. Thousands of people were forced inside for days. But photojournalist Jillian Taylor found one man on a mission to help his neighbors.
For Scott Nagel, working in Mother Nature is what he loves.
It makes me feel good. I like being out here. I love working outdoors. I don't want to do anything else. I love it.
Nagel works for a local lawn care company that's been using their resources to get schools ready to reopen after last week's historic blizzard.
Any little bit helps, especially if we can get one company to do it and multiple companies do it, say something like this happens again, it would help out everyone.
Our crew did a live broadcast at this very same road just 5 hours before Nagel and his team got there.
Down the hill, and you can see there are parts that are snow and ice covered, so you can only imagine the mess that
Our goal is to show the treacherous road conditions preventing students from coming back to school. So when company owner Clay Council saw our show, he also saw an opportunity.
This morning, I was watching Fernando and saw his live shot from Mount Olive, and it looked like they needed a lot more help than others.
Council, who has 4 kids himself, says he quickly noticed that many local schools were still blanketed with snow and ice. So he took things into his own hands.
Honestly, before last week, we weren't in the snow removal business, and so we just used what we had to do what we could.
Council and Nagel emphasize the same message: give back to your community when it matters most.
We all have opportunities to help, and we need to use the resources that we have to help the community when we can, and that's all we did.
Reporting in Knoxville, I'm Jillian Taylor.
City of Knoxville crews worked around the clock for 10 days straight to clean up from those storms. For some people, it took almost 2 weeks for road conditions to return to normal. In February, the Blount County community said goodbye to fallen Deputy Greg McCowan. McCowan was shot and killed in the line of duty during a traffic stop. Aaron Velasquez shows us how people across East Tennessee mourned his death.
This is the Blount County Communications Center conducting a final call for Blount County Sheriff's Deputy Greg McCowan, badge number 344.
There's a hole in my heart that I truly feel will never be filled.
Blount County Sheriff James Barong says Deputy Greg McCowan died a hero.
He had a passion. He wanted to serve the community. He wanted to make a difference. And there's no doubt in my mind that he did.
Those closest to the deputy say he'll be embraced by more than just family in his next life.
But I also see all that line of fallen officers who understand, and they're cheering him in.
The people of Blount County also showed their support.
Such a big honor just to be here and to help support and show our love and how much he meant to us, even though we didn't know him personally.
Friends of the fallen deputy confident they'll reunite one day.
But I know, without a shadow of a doubt, one day that I'm going to see my friend again.
And grateful for the time they spent together.
Even though God granted you but half a life, we will all feel cheated that you were taken from us, and we must learn to be grateful that you came along at all.
Deputy McCowan, we have it from here. Gone, but never forgotten. May you rest in peace.
Deputy McCowan's partner, Shelby Eggers, was wounded in that shooting. Kenneth Wayne DeHart Jr., the suspect in the case, was captured after a week-long manhunt. In December, he pleaded not guilty to 21 charges. State prosecutors say they will pursue the death penalty in his case. His trial is set for April 2026. In Monroe County, a murder case began with a bizarre 911 call tied to an $8 million life insurance policy, and it ended in a multi-state manhunt. 10 News reporter Sarah Oppman breaks down this strange case.
The sheriff's office calls it one of the most complicated cases they've ever seen. Nicholas Wayne Hamlet, arrested in late October, is accused of murdering Stephen Douglas Lloyd, a man whose body was discovered near the Cherahalla Skyway.
Kind of reminded me of the movie Catch Me If You Can. You know, I mean, it seemed like everywhere we turned, something new was coming up, and we would just kind of scratch our heads.
The affidavit states Hamlet was using a fake identity, claiming to be Brandon Andrade. His alleged motive? Financial gain through multiple life insurance policies, taken out using Andrade's name.
At this time, it appears that it is a financial motive.
But it wasn't just fraud. Investigators reveal Lloyd suffered blunt force trauma, his death intentional. Authorities pieced together the mystery with help from family members who had no idea about Hamlet's true identity.
Some of the information from family members was pivotal on the case. The information was actually what gave us traction to really move forward and identify who we were dealing with.
Hamlet's lies, they say, spread across state lines, using the identities of multiple people since 2017. His scheme was allegedly designed to prey on vulnerable individuals for financial gain, a crime that stunned even veteran investigators.
I've been in law enforcement 23 years. I've never seen it before, not to this complexity.
The investigation continues as authorities work to uncover all the details and ensure justice is served.
So that the victim's family knows that this person is in custody and he will go before a judge.
Hamlet made his first appearance in court in mid-November. A man in Anderson County was sentenced to death this summer for 2019 kidnapping, rape, and murder. Sean Finnegan was convicted in August and sentenced to die by lethal injection. He kidnapped Jennifer Paxton in 2019 and held her captive in his Oak Ridge apartment. His girlfriend also pleaded guilty and testified at Finnegan's trial. He still faces other charges and will be tried on those next year. Well, the Gay Street Bridge remains closed 6 months after inspectors found a compromised element in that historic structure. In June, a routine TDOT inspection revealed a distorted steel truss. City Council voted to spend $850,000 to assess the bridge and to design a repair plan. It's not clear at this point how long those repairs could take. That bridge built back in 1898. Still to come, a busy year on the UT campus. A look back at big wins for the Vols and a big loss for Vol fans. It feels like 24 for the baseball Vols. The University of Tennessee baseball team took home its first ever College World Series championship trophy. That happening back in June. The team celebrated in Omaha and then back here in Knoxville. The city hosted a homecoming parade for the team that made its way through downtown Knoxville. Tennessee football can also claim a historic year. The football Vols made an appearance in the first round of the first ever 12-team college football playoff. The team beat rivals Alabama, Florida, and Vanderbilt. They ended the regular season 10-2, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs to Ohio State. This after a memorable showing in Columbus. Well, the end of the season also marked the end of a Tennessee football era for voice of the Vols, Bob Kesling. He announced back in November he will retire after the Vols basketball season. I had the opportunity to speak with him about that big move and about what's next.
Tailback, Hardesty breaks it to the 30, to the 20, to the 10.
His play-by-play brings the action on the football field and basketball court to life for listeners over the airwaves.
He fires over the top of him, out front, good, lost it over Durant.
Bob Kesling has proudly owned the title Voice of the Vols for 2.5 decades. But after hundreds of broadcasts capturing signature moments in Vol history, the veteran announcer is ready to trade watching games for watching his 4, soon-to-be 5 grandchildren grow up.
And I saw their schedules, their football schedules. Well, I can't get to that game, I can't get to that game, and I can't do this, and I can't. And I thought back of all the stuff I missed when my 2 girls, Allison and Melissa, were growing up. And I just thought, it's time for me to quit missing everything and be a grandfather.
As he looks forward, Kesling can't help but look back. His playing days at Neyland Stadium to earning a spot in sports radio and reaching the coveted chance to work side by side with another celebrated UT legend, voice of the Vols, John Ward.
And he said, "You played football, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah. We know something about the game, be my spotter." So that's where that started, and I sat next to him for 15 years and learned how to do the game.
Shadowing his mentor prepared Kesling for almost 2 decades in TV. For 18 years, he manned the anchor desk as sports director here at WBIR. Then came the famous press conference by his longtime mentor.
It's time.
In 1998, John Ward stunned Vol Nation, announcing his retirement, marking the start of a second career for Bob Kesling.
And I didn't hear anything from Coach Dickey that whole year. And then John did his final game in the NCAA tournament on a Saturday, and they got beat. Doug Dickey called me at 7:30 Monday morning and said, "Can you be in my office at 9 o'clock?"
Within a week, the UT athletic director offered Kesling a dream job. Now at 70, he credits his longevity to sage advice offered along the way. Treat the microphone and the listeners as your best friends and dress for the job.
I always wore a tie, and I never wore a tie with a loss in it. So if Tennessee lost a game, that tie is out of the rotation. So you get another one. So every tie is a fresh one that doesn't have a loss in it.
Advice from Kesling to whoever follows him in the broadcast booth comes from his father.
So I said, don't be John Ward. They're not hiring John Ward II. They're hiring Bob Kesling. Just go do it the way you think it ought to be done. And that's what this next guy will do.
Kesling says for now, he's focused game to game, play by play, moment to moment, enjoying a final season calling games for Big Orange Country.
McBee's got a fire at the buzzer. Good! Skylar McBee at 3!
It's been a blessing, and I knew it was going to be a big job and a big responsibility, but it has been just a labor of love, and it's just been really special for 26 years. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
And he's a special guy. Again, Bob Kesling plans to retire at the end of basketball season. You can watch my full conversation with him right now on our YouTube channel. The Tennessee Smokies played their last game in Kodak back in September. In 2025, the team will move to Knoxville with a new name, the Knoxville Smokies. The stadium is now under construction. We have seen crews add seats, grass, a retractable pitcher's mound, and a Tennessee-shaped scoreboard, all in the last few months. First pitch in the new stadium set for April 2025. For one weekend this fall, Neyland Stadium was full, but not full of football fans. Country music singer Morgan Wallen took over the stadium with not one, but 2 massive concerts. As you can see right there, Wallen walked into his first concert with the national championship Tennessee baseball team. The sold-out shows broke the attendance record for Neyland Stadium. More than 150,000 fans attended. The East Tennessee native is only the 4th artist to headline at Neyland. The last one was Garth Brooks. Well, the path to the 2024 Paris Olympics ran through Knoxville, at least for USA Diving. Knoxville hosted the Team USA Diving Trials on the UT campus back in June. The competition brought hundreds of Olympic hopefuls and their coaches to the scruffy city. It also brought the Olympic rings to Market Square, where people lined up to get their pictures made. A University of Tennessee swimmer represented Rocky Top on the world stage in Paris. Erica Conley took home a silver medal for the 4x100 relay. Conley dedicated her spot on Team USA to her coach's son. Ben Kretich was hit and killed by an impaired driver last year. Erica told us before she went to Paris, making the Olympic team was even more special because she was doing it in Ben's memory. Still ahead, a historic change for an East Tennessee landmark, the return of an ancient name for the tallest peak in the Great Smoky Mountains. That's next. Zoo Knoxville said goodbye to a longtime resident in May. Tonka was the largest and oldest African elephant in North America. He spent some 43 years in East Tennessee. He was 46 years old. He was placed in hospice care after showing difficulties moving. Tonka was the last elephant at Zoo Knoxville. The tallest peak in the Great Smoky Mountains now bears the name Kewohi, after a campaign by the Eastern Band of the Cherokee to restore the historic name. Back in 1859, a geographer dubbed the peak Clingman's Dome after a U.S. senator from Asheville. Then in 2024, the family descended from that senator supported the Cherokee Nation and the name restoration.
He said that they told him that it's about time.
County governments across East Tennessee and North Carolina also supported that move. The mountain peak officially became Kewohi back in September. Thank you so much for watching our 2024 Year in Review. We certainly couldn't fit every story in this short show, but we have a longer list of our top stories from the year online right now. You can find that at WBIR.com. Thanks so much for watching, and Happy New Year.